Very good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. So, welcome back in the current affairs classes. Today, I will be covering the news from 2nd and 3rd October, and we have a lot of cabinet approvals over here as well. So, let's get started. Can anyone please let me know is the audio and video all good? Anyone? Audio, video all clear? Alright, so I'm assuming it's all good. Let's start with the first section, which is ESI Finance and Business News. Let's see what do we have here. So the first one is something related to the news we have earlier discussed as well. It's all good? Alright, thank you. This is something, if you remember yesterday's class, I have discussed with you that SEBI has introduced some new set of regulations and rules, to curb the recent ongoing addiction with the F&O segment, etc., etc. So in line with this thing, if you see, Bombay Stock Exchange will be discontinuing the BankX and Sensex 50 contracts, okay? Remember. So your BSE will be discontinuing the BankX and Sensex 50 contracts from weekly contracts. Why? Because it was required by SEBI, if you remember yesterday's class, right? So it will be removing this from weekly contracts by mid-November. Now reason, as I told you, SEBI mandated that each exchange will be allowed to provide derivative contracts for only one of its benchmark indices with weekly expiry. So they can only provide derivative contracts for only one of their benchmark indices with weekly expiry. This is the reason, right? If you remember the class. And the existing Sensex weekly contracts, they will remain active as the sole offering from the exchange, right? But these one will be discontinued. Just remember, these will be discontinued. Now next news which we have is Samantha Prabhu, South Indian actress Samantha Prabhu has invested in D2C wellness startup Secret Alchemist and joined it as co-founder. Just remember the fact, nothing to discuss about here. So this is in news. It is D2C, direct to consumer or customer wellness startup Secret Alchemist, right? And she has joined it as the co-founder. So you should remember the fact. Next is HSBC Final India Services PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, which is compiled by your S&P Global, has fell to 57.7 in September 2024 from the earlier 60.9. Now it has fell down. That shows less of economic performance, right? You all know that any point above 50 is good in PMI and points below 50 shows of falling economic performances, if you remember that. Right? Now next news. So Visa Inc. has launched a new platform, Visa Tokenized Asset Platform. Now you should remember this news, Visa Tokenized Asset Platform, VTAP. Visa Tokenized Asset Platform, VTAP. This basically will help banks issue stable coins and other fiat-backed tokens internationally. You know what are these stable coins? Stable coins are like your cryptocurrencies only, and they are stable coins because they are pegged to the value of some asset which is stable, like gold, or they are pegged to the value of, say, fiat currencies, the legal currencies in circulation, right? So that's why these are stable coins. Now this platform will make it easier for the banks to mint, burn and transfer tokens, these digital tokens or the cryptocurrencies. So disposing of them will also be made easier, right? Clear? Now next thing. So remember this platform. Next news which we have is Bank of America, which is India's foreign exchange, according to the Bank of America, India's foreign exchange reserves will likely rise to 745 billion by March 2026. Just remember this, they have given this figure. They are speculating that forex reserves will be rising, say, to 745 billion by 26. Now you see forex reserves in India, they have been continuously rising, right? And 700 ka mark, we have set a record with that. So this is important. Just remember this. Now next news which we have is CareEdge. So CareEdge Global IFSC Limited, which is a subsidiary of Care Ratings Limited, has released its inaugural report on sovereign ratings covering 39 global economies, right? In which it has assigned a long-term foreign currency rating of CareEdge BBB plus to India. So remember this is important. You all know these ratings are provided by these agencies. So just remember which rating has been provided to India. So remember long-term foreign currency rating of CareEdge BBB plus. Triple B plus has been assigned to India. What is the reason? India's resilient post-pandemic recovery and its focus on infrastructure investment. So it highlights India's post-pandemic recovery, and right now the focus on the infrastructure development have been the key factors in clinching this rating. Remember that. And also one special note which we have here is that CareEdge has become first Indian credit rating agency to enter the global scale rating space, including sovereign rating. So remember, CareEdge has become became the first Indian credit rating agency to enter the global scale ratings space, including sovereign ratings. So remember, first from India is CareEdge. All right. And what about the AAA rating? So CareEdge AAA rating has been provided to Germany, Netherlands, Singapore, and Sweden. India has triple B plus, but remember who has been provided with triple A rating. So triple A rating has been provided to Germany, Netherlands, Singapore, and Sweden. Remember. And other projections for India. So they are saying there will be a gradual reduction in India's general government debt to GDP ratio from current 80% to 70% by financial year 30. So remember, they have said there will be a gradual decline in debt to GDP ratio from 80% to 78% by financial year 30 and 73.5% by financial year 35. So they are expecting that the debt to GDP ratio will be falling down from the present levels. Now next news. SWIFT, as you all know, SWIFT, is a secured platform which enables the financial transactions messaging or sharing of information between banks and financial institutions internationally. You all know that, right? So SWIFT, which is a global financial messaging provider, as I told you, will begin trialing transactions involving digital currencies and assets on its secure network starting in 2025. Now there is a pilot program basically SWIFT is going to be launching, which will involve your central commercial banks, etc., for the digital currencies and assets on its secure network. So basically they will try and understand how SWIFT's infrastructure can actually effectively facilitate the transactions of these central bank digital currencies, right? So it is important because CBDCs have been in news, if you remember, right? So remember this. And India, or say initial use cases will include, say, payments, foreign exchange, securities, and trade related transactions. And this is going to be important when we talk about India, because India, we have been discussing that RBI in India as the central bank is pushing the CBDC's implementation, has been there. I have discussed with you in the RBI annual report, they have been involved in the pilot projects for rolling out the CBDC retail and CBDC wholesale. So it is going to be effective for many countries, and implementation of CBDCs, let's see how it works in future, right? So remember, SWIFT is going to conduct these pilot trials for CBDCs. Just this much is important. Now next news we have is private sector companies. They have announced setting up of factories and other new projects worth rupees 4.1 trillion in 3 months. So your private sector companies announced setting up of factories and other new projects of how much? 4.1 trillion in the 3 months ended September 2024, which is a 42% rise from the year ago period, according to a data from your Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. So there is a 42% rise. You can write these figures in your answers as well. There is a 42% rise in what? In private sector companies setting up their companies or factories in India, right? This is a data from Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, remember. Now, coupled with government announcements of roads, railways and similar new projects, the total value of project announcement for the quarter has reached 5.49 trillion. So, apart from private sector projects, if you couple them with the government's announcements as well, like that of the roads, that of the railways, etc. So, the total project announcements, they have reached 5.49 trillion. That shows that we are constantly pushing towards the infrastructure development, and that is going to add to India's economic capabilities, right? This much is important. Now, moving on to the next sect. I hope this ESI finance banking first section is clear to all of you. Now, coming to the regulatory bodies news. I hope whatever we have discussed so far is clear. Now, coming to the regulatory bodies news. So, in the regulatory body news, first you have from RBI. RBI research paper is there, which has suggested reforms in agricultural marketing. Now, this is important, and you can actually use this data into your descriptive as well, because it is directly coming from RBI's research paper. So, RBI's research paper has suggested reforms. Reforms in what? Reforms in agricultural marketing, which includes increase of private mandis to help farmers realize better value for their crop. You see, this research paper has basically highlighted that what consumer spends on these food crops, farmers are getting very less portion of it. Maximum portion is being accrued to wholesalers and retailers, right? So there is a problem. We need to bridge this supply chain gap. We need to bridge this market infrastructure gap. So according to the research paper, if you see the problems highlighted, first thing is onion farmers, if you see, get only 36% of what consumer spends on the onion, only 36%. And tomato, it is only 33%, and for potato, it is 37%. That this much is only what is accruing to the farmer, if you see, as a proportion of what consumer spends onto these food items, food crops. Now then, remaining portion goes to whom? As I told you, remaining portion basically goes to the wholesalers and retailers, right? So this is the thing. And as vegetables, what are the reasons? Because these are perishable commodities. First thing is that. So we have a problem with the cold storage, right? Also, since these are perishable commodities, having cold storage is not sufficient. Anyway, they are going to get spoiled, right? So you have to have private mandis. This is the suggestion by RBI. They may be increased to improve transparency in marketing, because these APMC and all, managed by state government, they are, if you ask a farmer, this is the worst place for a farmer on this earth, right? These APMC mandis, they take some kind of fees and charges from the farmers, and then services, they are not provided to the farmers. Also, a lot of discrepancies and other malpractices, they happen in the APMC mandi. So private mandis needs to be encouraged here. This is what RBI says. And a similar study on pulses inflation has also been there. Pulses inflation, focusing on gram, tur and moong pulses. It has highlighted that around 75% of consumer rupee spent on gram chana circulates back to farmers, 70% for moong and 65% for tur. So that shows, in case of pulses, the income accruing to farmers is quite better as compared to the food crops, right? So pulses we are in a better situation, but we need to work upon this. So remember, RBI has suggested for private mandis. Now next news you have is SEBI imposing a fine of rupees 12 lakh on NSE Data and Analytics for its failure. Failure for what? Failure to segregate IT infrastructure and manpower between itself and its parent firm National Stock Exchange. This is not very important. If you can remember, just try to remember, otherwise not so much important. You can remember the name of the entities involved, if not the amount. So then you have RBI informing that 98% of the 2000 denomination notes they have returned back since its May 2023 move to withdraw the currency notes. So you know 2000 notes have been withdrawn from circulation, and RBI has informed that 98% of these denomination notes they have returned back. Okay, they have returned back. Not much to discuss here. And the total value of notes denomination has reduced to say rupees 7,117 crore. It takes a lot time, to cover 3 days news in one day. You see, it has 18 pages into it, and going 18 pages and then almost 18 pages in another, and then say if there's a single day PDF, so these many pages to cover, either we will have to compromise on the efficiency. All right, but if it is possible, I'm trying to assess. That's why I'm trying to take regular CA now, so that we are able to cover the maximum current affairs. But I will try, if possible. I'm looking into the content. If say someday 2-3 days content is not very lengthy, so I'll try to cover it into a single class only. I understand your concern, and I also respect that. I also appreciate your concern, but still there are certain limitations. Although I'll try covering 2-3 days news. So this is, we are covering 2 days news today, right? I'll try covering 3 days if possible. So just give me some time. I'll try figuring it out. Okay. If it is possible, I'll definitely do that. Rest assured. Okay, you are appearing for IRDI. Well done. Very good. All the best. So don't worry about that, Vanshika. I am trying my level best, and if becomes possible, I'll do whatever it takes. If is at least possible to take 3 days current affairs class, also not compromising with the quality of the content, right? So don't worry about that. I'll figure it out. So let's move ahead. This was about the 2000 notes, and now moving on to the banking news category. Banking news category. So Bank of Baroda has proposed to sell its Oman operation. Now this is something you can remember. Bank of Baroda has proposed to sell its Oman operations to Bank Dhofar. Bank Dhofar. Now Bank Dhofar basically operates into Oman as a part of rationalization of foreign operations, right? And the bank has accorded approval for accepting the offer for acquisition of the banking business of bank's Oman territory operations by Bank Dhofar. So now these Oman operations of Bank of Baroda will be taken up basically by Bank of Dhofar. This is to rationalize its foreign operations. Okay, this much is important only. Just remember the currency because the country is in news. So just remember Omani Riyal. Remember the currency. Now next in the banking news you have is ICICI Bank and Make My Trip. So MMT. ICICI Bank and MMT, they have partnered. Partnered for what? To introduce a new premium co-branded credit card. So you see a lot of new co-branded credit cards are being issued. Regularly we are seeing that. So co-branded credit card designed for frequent travelers. Now the joining and annual fees will be 999 here. So not too much. So joining fees and annual fees will be 999, and it will have 2 cards, one each powered by MasterCard and RuPay. So remember, it will have 2 cards, one each powered by your MasterCard and RuPay. Okay. Also, one important feature that the RuPay credit card can be linked to UPI. So remember, this is a new co-branded credit card. resulting from partnership between ICICI Bank and Make My Trip. Next is Google India has partnered with Muthoot Finance to provide gold-backed loans. Google India partnering with Muthoot Finance to provide gold-backed loans to small businesses and consumers, okay, especially in rural areas through Google Pay. So via Google Pay, they are trying to extend gold-backed loans to small businesses and consumers, especially in rural areas. Now it is going to be a very important step. You can write these examples into financial inclusion in your descriptive as well. Why am I saying that? Because in financial inclusion, if you see, when we are trying to cover, trying to increase the credit penetration in rural areas, so particularly these kind of initiatives are important. First, rural areas, they primarily save into physical assets like gold, right, rather than financial assets. So that can be a way of mobilizing these savings into investments. That can be one way, right? So this is important. Also extending credit to these unserved or say underserved areas under banking system. And they are also going to partner with Aditya Birla Finance Limited for gold-backed loans or gold loans. There are certain facts here, you can try to remember them. According to ICRA, more than 80% of gold loans, they go to users in tier 2 and smaller cities. And it is expected that the organized gold loan market to surpass 10 trillion rupees. 10 trillion rupees it will be surpassing in financial year 2025. And by 2027, might reach by 15 trillion rupees. So remember, tier 2 and smaller cities are the maximum, are having the maximum proportion of gold loans, because there is a difference in, you know, how do you save in the urban areas and the rural areas. Now this was about the banking news. Moving on to the national and state news. First, in national, you have Marriott International. Marriott International will set up first ever global capability center from hospitality in Hyderabad, Telangana. Okay, so it is going to be there in Hyderabad. Just remember that it will be a global capability center at Hyderabad, Telangana by Marriott. Next, Government of India has established 13,822 Jan Aushadhi Kendras across the country till 30th September under the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. So you know about PMBJP, right? So Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana ke tahat the Government of India has established 13,822 Jan Aushadhi Kendras. Now, if you look at the target, so under the scheme, they have a target of setting up 25,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras across the country. But so far, we have established 13,822 already. So please remember the overall target at least. What is the overall target? Setting up of 25,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras. Okay. Also, if you remember this important feature of the scheme, you must have read the scheme. Just remember, under Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana, the medicine, if you see, is priced on the principle of maximum of 50% of the average price of top 3 branded medicine. Whatever top 3 branded medicines you have in the market, their average price and uska 50%, maximum 50%, the medicine is priced. Just remember this, and remember 25,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras. Then you have Union Home Minister inaugurating newly constructed Police Commissioner's office in Ahmedabad. So remember recently where new Police Commissioner's office has been inaugurated. It has been inaugurated in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Okay. He has also inaugurated the Joint Interrogation Center. Other inaugurations or inaugurals were Joint Interrogation Center and Tera Tujhko Arpan portal, along with the launch of Cyber Sathi book. So just remember all of these have been launched, and remember the Police Commissionerate office has been inaugurated in Ahmedabad. Right. Next, centralized portal for internship scheme has been launched. So you have Government of India has launched a centralized portal for the internship scheme, which will allow youth to apply for internship directly with countries' top 500 companies. If you remember, this internship scheme has been announced in the budget, right? We have discussed this thing in the budget, where top 500 companies will be providing internship with the stipend provided to the youth, right? So for that, there is a centralized portal which has been launched, via which the youth can register for these internships. Overall target under this scheme is to offer 1 crore young people over next 5 years with internship and skill development capabilities and opportunities, right? And the target is 1.25 lakh internship opportunities. This much internship opportunities to be created. So this was announced in the budget only. If you see the eligibility criteria, 21 to 24 years of age. So basically catering to the youngest minds, young minds, should not be engaged in full-time employment. These are the features we have discussed in the budget class as well. They should not be engaged in full-time employment. Also, individuals from families with government employees, they are not eligible. Also, graduates from your prestigious institutions like IITs, IIMs, or those with professional qualifications, like CA, CMA, they are also excluded because they don't require internships, right? They have internships and trainings in their curriculum only. The scheme is also open to youth trained at industrial training institutes and Kaushal Kendras. So say if they are trained under some specific state schemes or under industrial training institutes or Kaushal Kendras, they'll also be eligible for that. Who are not eligible, you can remember them. Stipend, if you remember, has been 4,500 from the government side, plus 500 companies will be there, plus 500 rupees from the companies as a part of their CSR initiative, and 500 companies will be there, remember. So 500 companies and rupees 500 from the company's side as CSR. So CSR, corporate social responsibility, which they have to incur 2% of their average net profits of, say, preceding 3 years, right? So CSR, and this internship will be for 12 months. Remember what will be the duration of this internship? 12 months. Okay, 12 months will be duration. This was about the national news. Now you have certain cabinet approvals. Let's see what cabinet approvals have been there. They are important. So just remember all of them, whatever is important. Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister has approved signing of letter of intent for what? To enable India to join the International Energy Efficiency Hub. So India will be joining the International Energy Efficiency Hub. Okay, and so this will be implemented on behalf of India. If you see, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which is statutory, okay, established by statute. So Bureau of Energy Efficiency has been designated as the implementing agency for the hub on behalf of India. So on behalf of India, the implementing agency for this purpose will be Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Now, what is this International Energy Efficiency Hub? If you see, this has been in news quite a lot of times, we have discussed it, was established in 2020. It is a successor to your International Partnership for Energy Efficiency Cooperation, and as the name only suggests, it is a global platform dedicated to foster collaboration and promotion in energy efficiency worldwide. So this is the norm of the day. Every country is trying to have energy efficiency worldwide. Yesterday you saw what steps Britain is taking, right, for net zero emission targets, shutting down the coal based power plants. So these kind of initiatives for reduction of carbon dioxide, also energy efficient energy consumption, these are there, and this is important from that point of view. So remember, International Energy Efficiency Hub established in 2020, India is set to join this. Total members as of July 2024 is 16. Okay. So as of July 2024, total members are 16. When India joins, will be becoming 17. Next, what you have is Chennai Metro Rail Project Phase 2 has been there. So Union Cabinet has approved the proposal of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for Chennai Metro Rail Project Phase 2, which will be having 3 corridors. Remember, it will be having 3 corridors. Corridor 1 from Madavaram to Sipcot, Corridor 2 from Lighthouse to Punamale bypass, and Corridor 3 will be from Madavaram to Sholinganallur. Okay, these will be the 3 phases. This much only is important, and they are aiming to cover it by 2027. You need not remember all these kilometers and stations, just remember names of these 3 phases here. Now next cabinet approval which you have is rationalization of all centrally sponsored schemes operating under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare into 2 umbrella schemes. So now you see this is going to be important, very important for upcoming NABARD, IRDAI, phase 2 of RBI, etc., right? So you see Union Cabinet has approved rationalization of centrally sponsored schemes, whatever CSS based centrally sponsored schemes were operating under Ministry of Agriculture. So they will be categorized into 2 umbrella schemes from now. First, Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana and Krishonnati Yojana. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana and Krishonnati Yojana. Remember these 2 names. Remember these 2 names, and that's why remember the total outlay. It then becomes important. So remember the total outlay as well. 1,01,321.61 crores. I hope you understand the difference between centrally sponsored scheme and central sector scheme. So central sector scheme is 100% sponsored by the central government, and centrally sponsored scheme is where some portion of the sponsoring will be done by the central government and some part of implementation and funding will be done by the state government. So it will be divided between the central and the state governments. Right? So please remember these 2 names. First of all, remember them right now. PMRKVY, Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana and Krishonnati Yojana. Also, the scheme Mission Organic Value Chain Development for Northeastern region, which is a component under your Krishonnati Yojana, is also being modified by adding an additional component, namely MOVCDNER, which is detailed project report. Now total components will be there under this. So total components, if you see under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Vikas Yojana, the first umbrella category will be 9. So please remember total 9 components will be there. This is important. After the names of these 2 schemes, 9 components will be there. So you can remember, try and remember these names: soil health management, rainfed area development, agroforestry, then you have Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, agricultural mechanization, including crop residue management, per drop more crop kind of initiatives, crop diversification programs, and Krishi Vikas Yojana DPR component, the additional component, and the accelerator fund for agri startups. These will be the 9 components. So please remember them. And this scheme, which is Mission Organic Value Chain Development for Northeast region, it basically tries to develop organic supply chain, well developed organic value chain or supply chain, right, from Northeast area or Northeast India. Now National Mission on Edible Oils or Oil Seeds. So NMEO oil seeds for 24-25 to 2030-31. The Union Cabinet has approved National Mission on Edible Oil Seeds. Remember, National Mission on Edible Oil Seeds. I have also already told you in the class, and I'm continuously telling you this, just try to focus on which sectors government is focusing right now. So they become most important from the important PDFs, right? I'm saying most important from the important because ideally everything is important, but still if you try to figure it out, so these kind of priority areas like edible oils, semiconductors, etc., energy efficiency, battery energy storage, these will be the probable important areas for questions. So again, Union Cabinet has launched a national mission on edible oils to basically boost domestic oilseed production, because edible oil has caused a lot of import bill to India. So that's why they are trying to have import substitution strategy for this to boost domestic oilseed production and achieve self-reliance. It will be implemented for the period of 2024-25 to 30-31. Remember, this will be the period. So it will be there operating till 2030-31. And total financial outlay provided under this is 10,103 crores. Focus, as we have discussed, will be on enhancing production of key primary oil seed crops like rapeseed, mustard, groundnut, soybean, sunflower and sesame. These will be the priority oilseed crops. Also to increase collection and extraction efficiency from secondary sources like cottonseed, rice bran and tree-borne oils. So extracting or increasing the efficiency of extracting oil from these secondary sources will be again one of the focus areas under the mission. But primarily there will be focus on enhancing the production of key oil seeds. So just remember, you can go through all other news related facts, not so much important, but just remember the time period and the focus areas under National Oilseed Mission. Then you have the Union Cabinet approval for modification of existing productivity linked reward scheme. Productivity linked reward scheme, PLR scheme. So PLR scheme basically, as you must be knowing, wants to incentivize for increased efficiency and productivity. And particularly if you see, particularly this scheme has been aimed to increase efficiency in say port or shipping related activities, ports or shipping related activities, if you remember, right? So they want to modify this. They want to modify this, and particularly this is for major ports and dock labor board employees, as I have told you. Under the modifications, you will see increased weightage for calculation of PLR to port specific performance instead of weightage to all India performance. So their port specific performance will get more of weightage, because this is particularly port performance specific. And before this approval, if you see, PLR was calculated on monthly wage ceiling of for bonus. The bonus which was calculated had a monthly wage ceiling of 7,000 per month, right? But after this approval, the PLR shall be paid annually. It will be paid annually by enhancing the port specific performance weightage from 50% to 55%. Remember this. So this is one of the important modifications. The port specific performance weightage has been increased from 50% to 55%, and further they will be increasing it to 60% in a phased manner. And then effectively, because now it will be port specific performance, so all India port performance weightage will come down to 40%. So port specific weightage will be increased, just remember this much, from 50 to 55% and gradually to 60%. Next, what we have is Cabinet has approved payment of PLB of 78 days. So productivity linked bonus, as you all know, productivity linked bonus, Cabinet has approved for 78 days for rupees 2028.57 crore to almost these much railway employees, and the maximum amount payable per eligible railway employees is 17,951 for 78 days. Remember this. So just remember, PLB for 78 days will be there provided to the railway employees. This much will be sufficient. PLB for 78 days. Now this is going to be important. Cabinet has also approved to confer the status of classical languages to 5 new regional languages, effectively making the numbers of classical languages into India increase to, after this approval, increase to 11, because presently you had 6 classical languages, right? So 5 new regional languages will be again provided the status of classical languages. What are the existing classical languages? Tamil, Kannada, Sanskrit, Telugu, Malayalam and Odia. Now the new classical languages will be, please remember, Marathi, Pali, Prakrit, Assamese and Bengali. If you remember, if you have read the history of Buddhism, Pali and Prakrit was widely used in Buddhist texts as well, right? Pali and Prakrit. So Pali and Prakrit, Marathi, Assamese and Bengali will be the new classical languages. And these languages are primarily, prevalent in the states. Which states? So Maharashtra, Marathi, Bihar, UP and MP for Pali and Prakrit, Bengali of course for West Bengal, and Assamese from Assam. Next you have the Logistics Data Bank, which is a key initiative under NICDC Logistics Data Services Limited, has achieved a significant milestone by successfully tracking over 75 million EXIM containers. So Logistics Data Bank has achieved a milestone. It has successfully tracked over 75 million EXIM containers. Okay, and this Logistics Data Bank is a project which is currently operational at all your port terminals across almost 18 ports and 30 terminals, which tracks your EXIM containers. So it has been successful in doing that. You can just remember this much. And then you have Prime Minister urging rural residents and stakeholders across nation to take an active role in Sabki Yojana, Sabka Vikas. Sabki Yojana, Sabka Vikas Abhiyan or People's Plan campaign for 24-25. Prime Minister has urged all the stakeholders from the country to participate in Sabki Yojana, Sabka Vikas Abhiyan or People's Plan campaign for 24-25. This is to increase community participation, basically. Community committed participation in the preparation of Gram Panchayat development plans. Gram Panchayat development plans for the year 2025 to 2026. So they basically seek community participation to develop such plans to make it more holistic. Remember this. Next, what we have is, so your Ministry of MSMEs has announced that spinners, these spinners who spin yarn on the charkha, will see a 25% increase in their wages. While weavers who work on the loom, they will receive 7% hike. So this is important, please remember, because MSME has also been a priority sector. So MSME ke liye, the spinners will see a 25% hike in their wages, and the weavers working on the looms, hand looms, etc. will be witnessing a hike of 7% into their wages. Now next what we have is Swachh Bharat mission has completed 10 years on 2nd October 2024. So becomes very important. Remember that. Okay. And this initiative, comprise two components, the Grameen and the rural one, to eliminate the open defecation and improving the sanitary toilets, eradicating the manual scavenging, enhancing solid waste management, and promoting behavioral change regarding sanitation. And please remember that open defecation was the central focus of the initiative, and government declared India open defecation free in 2019. And if I ask you which has become the first state from India to be declared as open defecation free, can anyone give me the answer? So India was declared open defecation free in 2019, and the state which came first in declaration of open defecation free states, which was the state? Tell me. Which state was declared as open defecation free first from India? So it was Sikkim, right? If you remember, it was Sikkim. All right, moving ahead. Then you have in alignment with the lifestyle for environment mission, which was given by Prime Minister, if you remember this, okay, in the, so life, remember, life stands for lifestyle for environment mission, which was announced by Prime Minister in 2021. Eco-mark rules, eco-mark rules in line with this life initiative, eco-mark rules, and it replaces the erstwhile eco-mark scheme of 1991. Now, what is the aim? Of course, the name only suggests to encourage the demand for environment-friendly products. Environment-friendly products. By giving them eco-mark, you want to enhance the demand and supply of environment-friendly products, aligning them with the principles of lifestyle for environment. This was the initiative announced by Prime Minister, in which he urged to all the member residents, all the residents of the country and the citizens, to basically include environmentally good practices into their daily lifestyle habits, right? So just remember this, and in line with this, eco-mark rules have been notified, and the products accredited under the eco-mark scheme will adhere to specific environmental criteria, which will ensure minimal environmental pollution or impact. And remember, who is the implementing agency? This is important here, being implemented by CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, in partnership with your Bureau of Indian Standards. The scheme will be implemented by CPCB in partnership with BIS. Remember, CPCB in partnership with Bureau of Indian Standards. Then you have the state news. In the state news, you have 696 leopards have been found in different forest areas as per the first ever state-sponsored leopard census in Odisha. So please remember this fact. It might be important for all the upcoming examinations, that first state-sponsored leopard census has been organized in Odisha, right? And the highest leopards, they are in Odisha. And remember, the Simlipal Tiger Reserves has the highest number of leopards, 200 leopards almost. So please remember, Simlipal Tiger Reserve has the maximum number of these leopards. Then you have Union Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship inaugurating the six centers of Sant Gadge Baba Swachh Bharat Prabodhini, right? So these centers are based in Goregaon, then you have Pune, then Nasik, then Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Amravati and Nagpur. He has also renamed the Industrial Training Institute in Mumbai as Bharat Ratna Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Industrial Training Institute. So please remember, the Industrial Training Institute in Mumbai has been renamed as Bharat Ratna Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Industrial Training Institute. And remember that they have launched 6 centers of Sant Gadge Baba in Goregaon, Pune, Nashik, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Amravati and Nagpur. Then next we have Arunachal Pradesh's Deputy CM inaugurated Students Activity Center and led the foundation stone, inaugurated Student Activity Center, led the foundation stone of Buddhist Study Center at Rajiv Gandhi University at Doimuk. So remember, one Buddhist Study Center has been launched at Rajiv Gandhi University and Doimuk. And remember, Pali and Prakrit, most of the Buddhist texts, they have been written in Pali and Prakrit, which tell us about the Buddhist history, right? And spread of Buddhism in India and Indian subcontinent and beyond that. Then you have Telangana CM, Telangana Chief Minister launching digital family health cards. On a pilot basis, it has been launched. So pilot project kind of trials are being made in the state to provide benefits for health and ration for the eligible people in a family. Then you have Prashant Kishore launching Jan Suraj Party in Patna. Prashant Kishore launching Jan Suraj Party in Patna to contest all seats in 2025 Bihar Assembly elections. So this is new political alternative which you are getting in Bihar. So you can remember the name. Then you have Bihar's Chief Minister dedicating the newly constructed Bapu Tower on the occasion of 155th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi in Patna. So this is iconic 5-story building consisting of cylindrical and rectangular structures covering an area of 7 acres. So you can remember where it has been inaugurated in Patna, Bihar, Bapu Tower, for the, dedicating it to the Mahatma Gandhi on the occasion of his 155th birth anniversary. Then you have Nagaland's Hornbill Festival, and please remember that Nagaland government has signed with Wales as one of the country partners for 25th edition of Hornbill Festival. 25th edition. First of all, remember 25th edition is going to be. Second, remember Hornbill Festival belongs to Nagaland. Hornbill Festival is one of the biggest festivals which are organized by these states into India, and this marks a special festival because Wales from UK has partnered as a partner country in this Hornbill festival to be organized by Nagaland government. So please remember which country has partnered. Wales has partnered, okay? And the festival has been organized by the government since 2000 between December 1 and 10 every year, which showcases and promotes the best Naga culture. You get best Naga culture showcased here, promoted here, cuisines you get a lot of, and then music, dance and all, right? So a lot of activities they do. I would appreciate if you tell me why is it known as Hornbill Festival, or what is the significance of Hornbill, if you can tell me. Anyone? Okay, let me give you a hint. Hornbills are a type of birds, okay? So I want you to tell me why is it known as Hornbill Festival only. Please tell me. I'm waiting here for your answers. Now next, let's see what do we have. Next May, you have Asian Development Bank approving $162 million loan to Himachal Pradesh, aiming to enhance tourism development projects in these states. So please remember, Asian Development Bank has approved. So just remember the bank, at least if you don't remember the amount. ADB has approved this much of loan to Himachal Pradesh for development of tourism, $162 million. And the project title is Sustainable and Inclusive Tourism Development Projects in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, and the targeted areas, you all know, Mandi and Hamirpur districts to promote heritage and cultural centers. Then Kullu mein you have restoring the historic Nagar Castle, and Kangra, known for its beauty, as you all know, Kangra, beautifying the public places and constructing a convention center. So Mandi, Hamirpur districts, Kullu and Kangra will be the prime focus under this. Now moving on to the international news segment, you have YouTube Shorts creators. So YouTube Short creators now will be able to upload up to 3-minute long videos as shorts starting from October 15. So again, another, this is good news for the YouTube Shorts creators. This is in competition with what you had with the TikTok, right? So YouTube Short creators will now be able to upload 3-minute long videos as shorts. It will be started from October 15 only. So from today only it is going to be started, and this move seems to be competitive with TikTok, which allows up to 10-minute long videos to be there as shorts in the platform. And you know, the shorts and reels, they have wider reach as compared to the lengthy videos, right? And remember, the older existing videos will not be affected by this. So better opportunity now. Let's see. Then you have news from WHO. So WHO has granted emergency use authorization for Abbott Laboratories Mpox diagnostic test Alinity MPXV assay. You know, this is first approval under agency's initiative to strengthen testing capabilities in regions where there are Mpox outbreaks. So it will strengthen our ability, medical ability to test the Mpox cases, okay? And the test is a real-time PCR test, It will detect the Mpox virus DNA from human skin, okay? Just remember that. So WHO has granted the emergency use authorization for Abbott Laboratories Mpox diagnostic test. Now what is the name? Just remember, Alinity MPXV assay. Then you have Tata Steel has ceased its operations at Blast Furnace 4 along with other associated iron and steel making assets at Port Talbot, which is UK's largest steel plant. So remember, this is in news. At least remember the location, Port Talbot at UK. Tata Steel has ceased its operations at this center. Now moving on to certain MOUs and mergers. Let's see what do we have. So a trilateral agreement is there signed between India, Nepal and Bangladesh. Remember this, it is going to be important. Trilateral agreement, India, Nepal and Bangladesh, where they will be exporting 40 megawatts of electricity from Nepal to Bangladesh via India's power grid. So export of 40 megawatts of electricity from Nepal to Bangladesh via India's power grid. And the signatory authorities to this trilateral agreement are Nepal Electricity Authority, Bangladesh Power Development Board and NTPC Vidyut Vyapar Nigam. So please remember the signatory authorities as well. And this will be generated from Trishuli, Nepal plus so 25 megawatt from Trishuli in Nepal and 22 megawatt from Chilime in Nepal. It will be exported to Bangladesh. And Nepal will be exporting this surplus electricity via India from June 15 to November 15 every year. Okay. Just remember this trilateral agreement. Next, what we have is Adani Group and Google. They have partnered to enhance their sustainability efforts, contributing to growth of clean energy in India. If you see continuously in current affairs, we have been observing that Adani Group is having partnerships with a lot of companies for sustainable energy projects. So this is again in line with that. Under this, what the aim is basically to ensure that Google's cloud services and operations, they are powered by renewable energy. That the Google's cloud services and operations, which have a really wider reach, they must be powered by renewable energy. Okay. So what will Adani do here? Adani will be supplying renewable energy generated from solar wind hybrid project in Gujarat to them. So please remember, this project from which this will be supplied to the Google will be located at Khavda in Gujarat. Please remember the location, it will be located at Khavda in Gujarat. And the project is going to start from 2025 quarter 3. And what is the Google's target for clean energy? To achieve 24/7 carbon-free energy for its operations worldwide. 24/7 carbon-free energy to reduce 50% of all its combined scope 1, 2, 3 absolute emissions by 2030. So reducing 50% of absolute emissions by 2030. So this is going to help Google in that. Now next what we have is Arunachal Pradesh se we have Itanagar Capital Police and Rajiv Gandhi University. They have signed an MOU for establishment of a center which will be called NA's Home. NA's Home, a healing center for trauma victims. It will be created to provide refuge, protection and justice to victims of sexual abuse, domestic violence and other traumatic incidents. Then you have Hetero and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. They have signed an agreement with the Gilead Sciences Ireland UC to manufacture and distribute Lenacapavir. So it is non-exclusive, royalty-free, voluntary licensing agreement, and this, you know, is a breakthrough HIV treatment drug. This Lenacapavir is HIV treatment drug, which is approved by US Food and Drug Administration, right? So it is approved by United States Food and Drug Administration. Just remember, so remember the name, it caters to what? It is related to HIV treatment, lenacapavir, okay, HIV treatment. It is yet to be approved globally, but still this is in news. Now let's see further. You have Northern Uni, the educational institution in Sri Lanka, has signed a strategic MOU with Space Kids India to launch a collaborative student-led satellite project. Student-led satellite project. Basically, they want to design, develop and launch a satellite and inculcate curiosity and these motor skills and these scientific skills into students, right? Then next, you have Indian Trade Minister Piyush Goyal and US Commerce Secretary has signed an agreement to cooperate on strengthening supply chains in the two countries forward for the critical minerals like lithium, cobalt and other critical minerals, which are of course used in EVs for clean energy applications and not. Now again, I'm telling you, please focus on those areas which the government is focusing on, like critical minerals, like semiconductors, like renewable energy, like battery energy storage, edible oil import substitution, all these areas, okay? Biofuel, biomanufacturing, the mpox drugs approvals and all of these things. So they have signed this MOU basically to strengthen the supply chains of lithium, cobalt, critical minerals, other critical minerals, because they have really substantial application in your future industries like EVs, like automotives, etc. Then you have the JSWMG Motor India has introduced India's first high voltage second life battery powered by an indigenous battery management system. Again, I told you battery energy storage and all is important. So this is the thing, remember, it has been launched as a part of Project Revive, okay, in collaboration with Vision Mechatronics at the Battery Show 2024, which was held at India Expo Mart, Greater Noida from October 3rd to 5. What is the aim of launching all this? For repurposing used electric vehicle batteries with a homegrown battery management system for second life usage in large scale energy storage. So basically, the used EV batteries, repurposing them with a homegrown management system of battery for second life usage, okay, or for large scale energy storage. So basically reusing the electric vehicle used batteries so as to save the resources. Now next you have India's newest airline, Akasa Air, has launched Akasa Holidays in collaboration with travel solutions partner Trip Factory to cater to a range of travel needs, in which they will be providing holiday packages, etc., etc. So remember, Akasa Air, India's newest airline. Then next what you have is Bharat Electronics Limited, BAIL, and Israel Aerospace Industries. They have announced establishment of joint venture company named BEL IAI Aerosystems Private Limited. BEL IAI Aerosystems Private Limited. Its registered office will be Delhi, and it is going to be a single point of contact for extending any product support to say medium range surface to air systems of India's defense forces. Medium range surface to air systems of India's defense forces, it will be the single point of contact for that. Remember that. And the medium range surface to air missile systems के लिए it is, you know, air and missile defense system. It provides protection against a variety of aerial threats, and it was jointly developed by IAI and DRDO. So remember who has developed India's medium range surface to air missile system. It was jointly developed by IAI and DRDO. IAI and DRDO. So Israel Aerospace Industries and DRDO, they jointly developed this. And please remember, the joint venture between BEL and Israel Aerospace Industries is going to result into a new joint venture company, which is BAIL IAI Aerosystems Private Limited, marking a significant development further in India's medium range surface to air missile capabilities. Next, what we have is Reliance Power has partnered with the Druk Holding and Investments Limited, Bhutan, to develop significant renewable energy projects in the country. So Reliance again working towards renewable energy, and a solar plant is to be built in Gelefu Mindfulness City. Okay, with will be developed in 500 megawatt solar plants over the next 2 years. And once completed, it will be Bhutan's largest solar installation with the help of Reliance Power. So Gelefu Mindfulness City में 500 megawatt का solar plant, which is going to be Bhutan's largest solar installation. Then you have IIFL Home Finance has entered into a tie-up with ITC, aiming to address the home financing needs of farmers across the country. Now, under this partnership, the agro business division of ITC Limited will create a dedicated channel for IIFL HFL, enabling underserved farmers in the rural areas access a wide range of home loan services offered by the company. So the partnership will be catering to the home loan requirements by farmers in the rural areas particularly. Then you have Ashok Leyland signing agreement with Germany-based Flexbus to transform the bus transportation ecosystem between the cities. Ashok Leyland, you know, is very popular in India, particularly if you see the trucking ecosystem or the truck system in India. Now they want to have a better bus transportation system, so that's why this agreement has been signed. Also, the Flexbus operating partners, they will gain access to Ashok Leyland's comprehensive after sales support, so that they can develop nationwide operations. So both the countries are going to benefit out of it. Both of the companies, sorry, are going to benefit out of it. Now, science and tech and defense mein, you have for OpenAI has introduced a new workspace interface called Canvas for its artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT. So for ChatGPT, you have a new interface called Canvas. Now, it will allow users to highlight sections or ask ChatGPT to focus on specific tasks while assisting with writing or coding. So, other specific tasks can be provided under this. Remember, ChatGPT has got Canvas. In defense, you have third 25T Bollard Pull Tug or Ashwa, which is a great addition to existing capacities for India. So the launch of 25T Bollard Pull Tug Ashwa Yard 337 was launched by Commodore Ajay Yadav, so this contract for construction and delivery has been there of 6 25T BP tug, which was concluded with the Titagarh Rail Systems Limited in consonance with the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative of Government of India. You just remember this name, the Ashwa Yard 337. Just remember the Ashwa Yard 337. So it is third in the series of 25T Bollard Pull Tug or Ashwa Yard 37. And it is great initiative in the Make in India initiative, Government of India. Okay. This will be assisting the Indian Navy for naval ships in their operations. It will be assisting the Indian Navy for their operations. And then the first shipment of 100 land-based Harpoon anti-ship missile systems, they have been ordered. Anti-ship missile systems ordered from US. StatJSES has reportedly arrived in Taiwan and it marks significant milestone in Ireland's defense capabilities. If you see, US is constantly trying to enhance its strategic presence in this region, and particularly targeting Taiwan because of its existing conflicts with China. So just remember, this has been in there between US and Taiwan. Then you have AIX Connect, formerly known as Air Asia India, has merged into Air India Express, which has formed a single low-cost airline subsidiary of Air India, effective from 1st October. So this has AIX Connect has merged into Air India Express. Now coming to the indices and rankings, let's see. So you have, according to a study by digital travel platform Agoda, South Korea is the top destination for food enthusiasts in the Asian region. So for the food enthusiasts in the Asian region, which is the topmost position, it is in South Korea, which is Agoda, remember. And if you look at the Asia's top 5 food destinations, so you have South Korea, of course, first, then Taiwan, then Thailand, then Japan, and then Malaysia. So from South Asia, you have these top 5 food destinations. Then you have FNO, Food and Agriculture Organizations. The FAO, Food Price Index has averaged 124.4 points, which is up 3% from August. And this is something which I have referred to in the MPC key highlights if you have watched that class, right? It was there mentioned in the governor's statement as well, that the FAO Food Price Index, if you see, when you look at the statement, FAO Food Price Index has risen. So this has been referred to in that, and majority food commodities which have contributed to this are sugar, cereal, rice, vegetable, dairy product and meat. Remember that. And highest rise in food commodity is sugar, remember. So highest price rise comes from sugar. Other commodities are cereal, rice, vegetable, dairy products and meat. And why the sugar price hike is there? Because the crop prospects in Brazil have been worsening, and India's decision to lift restrictions on sugarcane use for ethanol production, so they may affect the export availabilities from the country, because now they might be used for ethanol production. So divergence of the resources might be one of the reason of hike in sugar prices, adding to supply side sugar. So this is coming from supply side inflation, right? This is supply side inflation in terms of sugar. Just remember this, coming from a lack of supply and production from Brazil also, because of divergence of resources to say ethanol production from the side of India. Then you have, according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index, Meta Chief Executive Officer Mark Zuckerberg has surpassed Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to become the second richest person in the world. So your Mark Zuckerberg becomes second richest person after Elon Musk. So you can remember, first is Elon Musk, second is Zuckerberg, third is Jeff Bezos, and fourth is Bernard Arnault, fifth is Larry Ellison, and Ambani's are at 12 or say 14th here. In another report we have discussed in the CA classes, I think, and that was the report in which Ambani's were placed at 12th. But from this report, you have Mukesh Ambani ranked at 14th, remember. Mukesh Ambani ranked at 14th. Then we have some reports. So, according to a joint research report titled India Incubator Kaleidoscope 2024, released by NSRCEL and Center for Research and Startups and Risk Financing. Number of incubators in Indian ecosystem, they have grown steadily. Okay. So India witnesses a rise in the number of incubators. And particularly if you see, South India leads into it. South India leads into it. Incubators, they have an active role in startup ecosystem. So they basically provide the basic infrastructure like mentorship, nurturing, other kind of supports like funding support, etc.
So these incubators, they have increased India. That means that the startup ecosystem will be boosted. So if you see here, active incubators, they have dotted the Indian startup ecosystem. They are more than 1,100. Highest density of such incubators, which further the development of the startups in India. Region wise, if you see, please remember, southern region has the highest number of incubators, so it will be adding to startup growth. High proportion of academic incubators which are there. Chennai has the maximum academic incubators, and high proportion of industry incubators are coming from Gurugram and Bengaluru. So please remember all of these categories. Highest density in the southern region, academic incubators maximum from China, industry incubators maximum from Gurugram, then from Bangalore. And overall incubator density in India is 0.8 incubators per million population. Where in countries like US, UK, China, they range between 8 and 10 per million. So we are lacking an incubator expansion. We need to increase this density. Then only we will be able to compete with their ecosystem of startups, right? If you see, highest rate of incubation has been there, which sectors have been able to attract the deep tech sectors like AI and ML. Okay. And if you see, NSRCEL is also the startup incubator at IIM Bangalore, and CREST is the startup incubator at IIT Madras. So please remember, NSRCEL is startup incubator at IIM Bangalore, and your CREST is the startup incubator at IIT Madras. So remember these two. Then you have Motilal, according to a research, Motilal Oswal Financial Services as of June 2024. Household sector owned 21.5% of India's listed equity market, higher than the other developed markets excluding the US. So this report by Motilal Oswal Financial Services says that household sector, they have owned 21.5% of India's listed equity markets. Now that shows increasing participation by Indian households, and that shows more of channeling of household savings into the or via the financial intermediaries, right? So household sector owned 21.5% of India's listed equity market, which is way higher than the other developed markets, but excluding the US. Other markets, if you see, it is higher than them. And according to the same report, since the beginning of year 2021, household ownership has remained within a very narrow range of 21-22%. Okay. But still, the India's equity market capitalization, if you see, has jumped more than 50% year on year to 441 lakh crores, while household sector holdings surging to 95 lakh crores. Barring US, household sector owns between 11 to 18% of listed equity markets in other major economies, which is lower than India's share, but it is higher in the case of US. So from other major economies, if you compare, we are at a better position, but we still need to channelize these savings into financial investments and saving options. Then you have awards category. So 8 unique products of Assam, they have been given GI tag title. You all know what is geographical indication, right? GI tag. So geographical indication title has been given to 8 unique products from Assam. Please remember these products. Now this is important, can be asked. So traditional rice beer variants like Bodo Jogran, then you have Maibra Jo Bidwi, and then you have Bodo Jo Gishi. Then you have traditional food items, Bodo Nafam, then you have Bodo Guakha, then you have Bodo Narzi and Bodo Ondla. Then you have traditional textile, Bodo Aronai. So these 3 categories are there, 8 items total, which have received GI title from Assam. Remember, please go through them and try to remember them. They can be asked directly. Any recent addition into GI tag list becomes important. Then in festival, if you see, you have Honorable President of India, Draupadi Murmu, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted the Jewish community on the auspicious occasion of Jewish New Year, as you all know, which is Rosh Hashanah, right? Now, coming to the sports, so you have trio of Indian shooters, Mukesh, then you have Rajvardhan, and you have Harsimar Singh Ratha. They have secured gold. Gold in what? In men's 20-meter rapid fire pistol team competition at ISSF Junior World Championship in Peru. So this trio has clinched gold. So please remember their names. And then you have Asia Rugby Emirates Sevens Trophy will be started on October 4 in Dasharath Stadium, Nepal. So remember, where is it going to be started? The Asia Rugby Emirates Sevens Trophy will be started in Nepal from Dasharath Stadium. Okay, it will be played between 14 men's teams and 7 women's teams. Then you have Spain's Carlos Alcaraz beating defending champion Jannik Sinner from Italy to claim his first China Open title. Then you have Puma India has launched campaign named You Need Ball. So remember, this campaign has been launched by Puma India. Puma India has launched campaign named You Need Balls during ICC Women's T20 World Cup, and it has featured Indian cricketers, you know, like Harmanpreet Kaur, Richa Ghosh and others, and their heightened achievement. So the aim basically is to change the perception of cricket being male dominated sport. They want to change this perception that cricket is male dominated, because we have seen the exemplary performances of women as well in the cricket. Also, there is certain important information. You all know that ICC Women's T20 World Cup is being organized, you know, in Sharjah, UAE from 3rd October to 20th October. It will be there. Then in the appointments and conferences, let's see, you have Royal Philips naming Charlotte Hanneman as its new Chief Financial Officer, replacing Abhijit Bhattacharya. Then in conferences, you have the Conference on Maritime Decarbonization in India, concluded on 3rd October at Le Méridien in New Delhi. So please remember, Conference on Maritime Decarbonization. Decarbonization in the oceanic areas basically has recently concluded. Remember who has organized this? So it was organized by Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways and the Asian Development Bank. Please remember, Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways as well as the Asian Development Bank. And if you see India's commitment under the conference, what has been announced to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070 and to decarbonize the maritime sector, particularly the oceanic production and all, aligned with the Maritime India Vision of 2030. Then you have International Film Festival and Forum on Environment and Wildlife, Vatavaran. International Film Festival and Forum on Environment and Wildlife, Vatavaran, was inaugurated on October 3 at Paryavaran Bhavan in New Delhi. This is the 12th edition of the conference, and remember the theme of this conference, Wetlands for Life. So it is focusing on wetlands. You know, wetlands, when we talk about, so you cannot skip the Ramsar Convention, right? Ramsar, where it was held in Iran, it is a place in Iran. So Ramsar Convention basically deals with the conservation, regeneration and protection of and identification of new wetlands worldwide. So remember, the theme is Wetlands for Life. And the theme's priority focus is awareness and conservation of the wetland ecosystem. Then if you see, next one is the CBI. CBI has organized 2-day regional investigating meeting in New Delhi to combat tiger trafficking. This was organized, tiger trafficking, and it was hosted by your International Criminal Police Organization and CBI. They want to basically enhance the cross-border law enforcement between India and Nepalese law enforcement authorities to curb tiger trafficking, particularly tiger trafficking. Then you have 2024 edition of the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue of Indian Navy held in New Delhi. Please remember, the theme was resource geopolitics and security in Indo-Pacific. So Indo-Pacific, you know, is the new center of geopolitics. You have resources geopolitics going on. So the theme is resources geopolitics and security in Indo-Pacific. Next, we have 6th Annual Future Food Forum concluded on 3rd October in Dubai. 6th Annual Future Food Forum. under the theme of future consumer, future government and future food. So remember, the theme was all about future. So future food, future consumer and future government. Then next you had World, and remember Dubai made concluded, World Green Economy Forum was again launched in Dubai. World Green Economy Forum again launched in Dubai on 2nd October to address the pressing environmental challenges. And what was the theme for 2024? Empowering global action, unlocking opportunities and advancing progress with sustainable energy options. So remember, the theme was empowering global action, unlocking opportunities and advancing progress. World Green Economy Forum held in Dubai. Then you had Indian chair of WTO chairs program organized, at regional conference of the Asian and African chairs on 27th and 28th September. So the theme of this conference of Asian and African chairholders of the WTO chairs program was fostering resilient and responsible trade for changing global order. So resilient as well as responsible trade for the changing global order. And the location where it was held was New Delhi, remember. So India hosted this, New Delhi. It was organized by your IIFT, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Then you have Prime Minister to participate in the Kautilya Economic Conclave on 4th October in New Delhi, which is the third edition of the conclave. And it is being organized by Institute of Economic Growth in partnership with the Ministry of Finance. Institute of Economic Growth in partnership with the Ministry of Finance. Then you have some important days. So the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India celebrated its 8th annual day on 1st October, remember. 1st October celebrated as 8th annual day of, so this 1st October 2024, 8th annual day of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. You know the contribution of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India as well as the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, right? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India basically assigns these cases, which will be the individual cases, the company cases, to their respective tribunals like DRT for the individual cases and the NCLT, assigning them to the NCLT for company cases. So it is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India which assigns these cases, right? So present chairman also, remember, is Ravi Mittal. Then you have International Day of Non-Violence, celebrated annually on October 2, marks the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, of course. So you have International Day of Non-Violence, Ahimsa, associated with a lot many of virtues which were popularized by the Mahatma Gandhi. So 2nd October marked as International Day of Non-Violence, right? So this was the news. I think this is the end of the PDF. Yes. So these were the news we had from 2nd and 3rd October. I hope all of them are clear to you, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Please go through all these facts and try to remember the important ones only. And you can let me know if you have any doubts. Otherwise, I'll end this session here. Any doubts, anyone? No doubts? Okay. So that was it for today. I hope you revise all these things properly and this class becomes useful for you. Thank you so much for being there. I'll see you in the next class tomorrow with the next set of current affairs. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you.